I got a kill with every single gun from my loadouts in Deadline. To be exact, I have 66 loadouts, and because in some of these loadouts I have more than one gun, like a secondary, usually a pistol, and this makes a total of, I think, around 75 to 80, but I didn't count exactly. So what you can see here is a compilation of every single of these skills. Now, usually, when I got the kill, I didn't just respawn straight away because that would be boring. I kept on playing the gun to see if we could get, potentially a double kill. And so, sometimes you will see some really cool clips which I'm genuinely proud of. But I wanna take this time to talk about some things that I found out while playing, because recording this took me around 8 hours in total. It was a long time. I split it up in 3 deadline sessions to, get this video done. I want to talk about some things that I noticed on my way there. I'm gonna start off first of all with the MK17. Now, usually a lot of people know me for praising this gun. In a lot of videos I said it's the best gun in Deadline, but there have been some nerfs, and these nerfs are very noticeable. Well, first of all, the weight. It's still around the same. It's just a very heavy gun, but usually it was so good that it just didn't matter. The recoil. The recoil in the MK17 is really bad. Now this again is alright, because it can one shot. Come on, like, you can use it as a sniper, or at least you could use the sniper, because here comes change number 3, the bullet, or like the ammo. It's horrible. I don't know why they did this last nerf, because it was kind of unnecessary, to be honest. The MK17 was already in a very balanced spot compared to all of the other guns. Like, if you were good, you could easily kill someone with an MK17, and if they miss their first shot, it's already over for them. So, what I noticed is that sniping with the MK17 is not an option, even if you have a pretty long build with a good bullet velocity. It's just not good enough. The accuracy is honestly terrible, and if you want to go snipe, now you have to use the M700, because it's the only gun that can really keep up with long ranges at this point. Now, another thing that I noticed, and this one's quite obvious, SMGs are bad. Like, they're really bad. Of course, if you know how stats work in Deadline, this one's quite easy to tell. And that's because, well, SMGs, yes, they do have pretty good recoil, mostly, which means you can use them in medium ranges. You gotta take into account how much damage they deal per bullet, when compared to something like the M4, or like any other assault rifle in Deadline, to be honest. Because while SMGs usually deal somewhere between 30 to 20 damage at medium ranges, which is not a lot. This means you have to hit the enemy 4 to 5 times, and that's really not ideal. Assault rifles deal somewhere between, I'd say, 45 to 60 damage on medium ranges, and well, it's definitely suboptimal if you have damage below 50. You can still deal with it, you still just have to hit the enemy 3 times, and this difference alone makes most assault rifles so much better. And now, if you actually do have a build that can 2-shot at most ranges, well, how the hell is an SMG gonna keep up with that? There is absolutely no way, because the SMG's time to kill is just so much longer when compared to an assault rifle. Of course, the comparison is kind of unfair, because assault rifles do have more recoil, you get that, and you know, especially medium ranges. If you have good recoil control of SMGs and you go for headshots, they're a monster. Like, yeah, but in this way, every gun except for the battle rifles is really good, because you could just go for headshots, obviously. But you know, that logic doesn't apply to the average player, at least in my opinion. And that's why I think the state of SMGs is kind of sad. Like, I do think they need a major buff, probably in ergonomics, and that would be a start, because recoil is already pretty solid. They could probably nerf it, not nerf, like buff it to make it even less, but yeah, that's not that much of a problem. I think it's mainly ammunition and ergonomics which are the concern for SMGs here. Now, the last thing that I want to say before I move on to just you know, yapping random stuff, is my favorite gun. And you know, I did have the chance to play 66 loadouts, which probably had around 80 guns. And I do have a list of top 3 guns. And at number 1, by far my favorite, has to be the M41. Now, yeah, this is obviously not a hot take. Everyone knows, not everyone, everyone loves the M4 basically in Deadline. Most of the builds you see are usually M4 related, because there's just so much customization. And I get it, the M4 is actually really good. Like, yeah, the recoil is surprisingly controllable, even in full auto now, which is something I appreciate. I really like how they, you know, the Deadline devs decided to, I guess, make recoil better. Because I played with Frost X, and he also agreed that the recoil feels a lot better than it used to before, especially in full auto and guns like the M4, and that's really nice to hear. SMG's recoil also feels a bit better, but it's kind of awkward. Like, it's just, how should I say, it's kind of all over the place, which should not be the case for an SMG, I think, but it's alright. Yeah, so for number 2, it's probably the MK16. There was a time when the MK16 was horrible, and that was, you know, around the time when I'd say SMGs were actually a good weapon, because recoil was just really bad overall in Deadline. But now that recoil on assault rifles is a lot better, you know, the MK16 naturally has even less recoil than the M4 in full auto, because of its slower fire rate. Also, here you can see I was not able to use a loadout because it was broken, so yeah, just left it here. Yeah, okay. And last, I'd have to say the Chris Vector, obviously still an amazing gun. Like, I was thinking about putting the HK416 in the third place, but then I'd have 3 assault rifles in the exact same caliber, and it would be a bit boring. And the Vector still is amazing, so yeah, sorry if you disagree, but yeah, that's just my opinion. Anyways, that's all of the important things I wanted to share. And now it's time to just talk about random stuff, I guess. So I'm gonna start off with something that hopefully interests me as much as it does you, and that is when the next Deadline update is gonna come out. Now, there have been, as you've probably noticed, a bunch of minor changes and, you know, maps being added, Deadline. Now I gotta say, I'm really glad that they do release these and that they don't wait for one major update and just throw all of this stuff at us, because it can be overwhelming. And I'm also really glad that we have the recoil change already and didn't have to wait for another major update, because that would have been horrible and would have changed the dynamic of this video majorly. Like, yeah, there would have been no chance that the MK16 and M4 would have been, you know, the top 2 best guns, in my opinion. It would have been probably something else entirely. But yeah, I honestly don't know. My prediction is that we get an update around summer, probably, like a major update. I hope that it doesn't take longer, but I would really appreciate if it's actually a shorter time frame than that. Like, no, who knows? Maybe we even get one this spring. Would be cool. But yeah, I'm not sure that's something you can be confident in, because there's a lot of things that could be coming in the update, like an ASVAL was definitely considered, which would be really cool. Like, it's probably my favorite firearm from video games. I really like the ASVAL, and 9x39 is a really cool caliber. But at the same time, there, like yeah, over the past few updates, so many things have changed. I could have already made like 3 different tier list videos, and they would have been completely different, just because of the changes that the deadline devs did. Like, for example, the recall change. The tier list would be nothing like the old one. Guns like the MK17, which doesn't have to do much with the recall change, but they're just in such a bad spot, in my opinion, that I don't even know if I'd fit them in A tier anymore, and possibly not even B tier. I don't know. It's just sad to me, like, that my favorite gun for such a long time got completely ruined, basically, and there's no way it's gonna recover from that. It's just one-shot guns are so controversial in that lane. I'm honestly happy they nerfed them. Like, even though I miss the good old times when you could just run around, and having better aim would mean you would win literally every single gunfight. But you can still do that if you use full auto guns. They're really effective. Like, sure, it's not a one-shot kill, but it's a 2-shot, and 2 shots in full auto take a very, very small amount of time, so it's fine for me. And what I did notice though is that semi-auto guns, generally, like, just guns that you were using semi-auto instead of full auto, just felt way worse. Best example for me would be the M4, which literally had easier to control recoil in full auto than semi. I guess that's because the kick is just so much worse for some reason. I don't know why this has been done. Maybe I'm just talking trash right now. This could be a complete lie, but it really does feel like semi-automatic. Like, the kick is just really bad, and in full auto, you just pull down consistently. It's the same with every gun in full auto. Just make the horizontal recoil stat low and pull down, and it should be fine. Yeah. So that's my opinion on updates and stuff. I guess I should also mention the maps. There's Tarmac, I think is what it's pronounced. It's like an airport kind of map. It's cool. It looks really good, in my opinion. Like, I like the assets, and I like the vibe that the map is going for. What I do not like is the gameplay on the map. It's pretty bad. It's very rat heavy. You can just camp inside planes, towers, and you don't really get a lot of CQB, which I think is sad, because my favorite type of combat in that lane is definitely CQB. This is where skill matters most. And yeah, this is, you don't rely on any luck. Like, it doesn't matter who has more luck with a follow-up headshot, it's just who has better aim and recoil control. Of course, you could argue that it really does depend. Maybe someone's hit registers first, but in this case, it would probably be the same outcome in a medium range fight as well. Also, this clip you can see here, this is a good example of how terrible SMGs are. Look how many hits it just took me there to kill him. Yeah, it's kind of sad. So, I expect next major update before summer or early summer. If not, then I guess I lost, because yeah, would be very disappointing. We haven't had a big update in a while, and I really want a new gun, and not just more QZ attachments. Like, I don't need that, to be honest. So yeah, tell me your opinion in the comments on what you think of their update strategy, I guess, and the changes they're making right now, like Recoil Studio. Tell me if you like the Recoil, like both sides of it. The semi-auto being worse than full auto now, at least in my opinion, because I know a lot of people really like to use semi-auto only, and I get that. Honestly, I've always been a fan of designated marksman rifles and like battle rifles and semi-auto. I get it. It's really satisfying. But in the state Dylan is right now, I feel like they're just not the meta anymore. In the Scar 47 video I made, it was really good at the time, because in full auto there was barely anything usable which could keep up with the Scar 47. But now I'd say, yeah, just use the same Scar 47 build, but in full auto, because it's just so good. It's still meta, yeah, but there's no need to use it in semi-auto now. And yeah, that's something I guess I'm happy about. It does make Deadline feel more fast-paced. I do like fast-paced shooters, actually, which, you know, some might know. Yeah, it makes me happy to see this change. Okay, I guess for the last section of this video, if you're still watching this for some reason, thank you very much, first of all. This did in the end take me 8 hours to record, so yeah, I appreciate you watching. I want to talk about the actual gameplay going on here, and you know, just comment on the clips, I guess, because there's not really much to say anymore. I already explained everything, like going from new update, like a potential update, the recoil system. There's just not much to say anymore. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna talk about the builds, and if there's a good clip, I guess I can comment on it a bit more. So yeah, right now I'm just using kind of copy-paste build, which you probably have seen me. If you were actually paying attention to the clips, you have seen me do that a few times. And I was just using the same build, but with a few different attachments. The reason I do that is because I usually like to have a stock variant of a build, or one that I can modify later on. And then, so I don't have to go back to the lobby every single game, I just have a build with attachments already on. So this is, for example, this is actually a troll Chris Vector build. It's possibly the lightest Vector build I could make, which, yeah, you could see, it actually does work. Oh, the Glock 17, I don't even know how many times I was forced to use this, but like every other sniper build had this as a secondary, so I was forced to use it, and usually the Glock is what took me most time to get a kill with, and maybe the MK17, although that was very map dependent. And as for the Glock, you know, it's just not a good primary option, and when you're forced to use it as a primary, it kind of sucks. So here, for example, you can see that if you have a good semi-auto recoil control, like you don't need some good semi-auto recoil control, you just need good game sense. You can get actually good kill streaks. But yeah, this clip, I remember this one. This is a good example of just look at the recoil in this one and the ones that are to follow, and you'll see that this is semi-auto. You see, you know, the recoil it's controllable. It's actually pretty good. But very soon you'll see what an M4 in full auto looks like, and you know, just tell me if you see a difference, because full auto honestly is just so much better now. So here you have, okay, we're not going to talk about this build. This is an HK that is not made for recoil control, which is the reason I'm going to miss my first burst here. But overall, look, the recoil is actually really good. Now you have this build, which again, if I just didn't miss my first burst, or like my first 5 bullets, it would have been an easy kill. But it was absolutely my bad. Okay, these are the last 3 clips. you got all of them with the same gun. I'm gonna put the code for this build in the description, because this is absolutely my new favorite build. I am gonna call this meta. I'm gonna say this is the best build I have ever made in Deadline for aggressive players. You can just use this in full auto, run around, and just look at it. Just look at this clip here. It's insane. It's genuinely one of the best builds I've ever made. The first life I had of this gun, I got a kill streak of 10, which would have been enough for my 1 life challenge video, by the way. So yeah, that's insane. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope I did not bore you to hell with this one. I do not expect this video to do well, but it was a fun challenge, and at times a rough one as well. I did enjoy recording it. I didn't enjoy editing it as much, but I'll see you in the next one. Just tell me on your opinion, and just tell me your opinion on my, my deep talk regarding Deadline topics in the comments if you feel like it. And yeah, have fun using the M4 build. It's really good. See you in the next one.